Welcome everyone to another installment of Manhood Academy Debates. We have yours truly, the professor, and we have a special guest. His name is Lee. We're going to find out just how special he is. And Lee, before we continue, I'm not sure if you've heard our previous debates, but we do post these debates online, so we will record this debate. Do we have your consent to post the debates for everyone's viewing pleasure?
Wait, Blue! Well, how do we preserve his anonymity? Come on, man!
Oh, yeah. By the way, Lee, we do alter the voices. We will not record the video portion of this, just the audio portion.
Sure, man. That's totally cool. I'm totally cool with like not being anonymous as well. I don't have anything. So yeah, but that's totally cool, man. You have my consent. As long as I can get a copy of this, man, I'm totally down with it.
You'll be able to view it after it's done. You can download it off of YouTube.
Cool.
All right. So now I'm not exactly sure what we're debating. I'm sure it has some sort of aspect of feminism. But before we continue, I'd just like to say we'd like to encourage everyone who has any major disagreements or minor disagreements with Manhood Academy to come down and we can discuss it, we can debate it, so we can have the burning eye of public scrutiny. And Lee.
Yeah, hold on, Blue. I want to send a special challenge out to all the hardcore guys on YouTube, to all the hardcore guys on the internet, blogs, and whatnot, all our hardcore critics. Lee see me. He knows I'm a 12-year-old girl. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Come on down. We've heard a lot of tough critics criticize Manhood Academy from behind their keyboards while they're wearing their pink panties. But we challenge you, fucking internet tough guys, to come on down, have the balls like Lee, to present your views in an open format so they can be judged by public scrutiny. Let the chips fall where they may. Let's state our case. Let's state our beliefs. Let's state our views. And let's let everybody else judge for themselves.
Sure, man. Now, I want to say, first off, I really respect you guys for doing that and putting yourself out there and saying, hey, this is us, this is what we believe in, let's go.
Let's go!
Great! So, Lee, since you are against, would you like to continue? So, there's certain disagreements or certain aspects of Plum's argument, theories or whatever, things that you want to poke holes at.
By the way, just to help him out, I'm going to post his link to what he posted in the visitor center so he can refer to it, and anybody else that wants to can refer to it. Just for reference for the debate. Of course, you guys won't be able to see it, but whoever's going to be listening to this. But for the debate participants, there's a link to what Lee posted, the questions and whatnot, and anything you want to draw from there, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So okay, cool. Well, so the basic question I had was I have to clarify this. I've only watched the 3 videos that you guys put up: the problem, the solution, and the something or other.
The application, correct?
Yeah. I've only watched those 3 videos.
Right.
I've started reading through the ebook, but I only got my hands on it a couple of hours ago, so I'm still kind of familiarizing myself with it. So I'm going to say things, but if they're incorrect, if that's an incorrect assessment of your philosophy, if you could correct me on it, I'd really
Don't
appreciate
worry.
it.
I have a bad habit of correcting people.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, okay. So, what I got from the videos, and obviously, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I have to say that, is that one of the key kind of components of your philosophy was that in order for a guy, the solution is for guys to start taking more responsibility for their life and start taking, guiding their own direction and
that's not strictly what it's saying. It's kind of it's implied and also part of what we're teaching here, but it's not the main focus. But yeah, I want to cover specifically this issue you brought up, so I appreciate the clarification on this. So go ahead and clarify what you were asking.
Yeah, okay, so that's... So the confusion that I was having was that it seemed that your solution was based on a lot of about taking responsibility for your life, but it seemed like the assessment of the actual problem didn't include the guys taking much responsibility for the problem.
Right. You said it seems as if you're saying that guys should take. I'm just quoting you. You're saying that guys should take responsibility for the future, but deny all responsibility for the past. I'm not sure what that statement meant. Could you clarify it?
Okay. Yeah, sure, man. Because it seems like, and obviously just my limited understanding of it seems like the philosophy is saying it's not your fault that where you are right now. It's society's fault. It's the media's fault. It's women's fault.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is that correct understanding?
Yes, that is a correct understanding. Well, there's 2 parts to that. There's the side that you mentioned, which is where you personally take responsibility. But there's also the other part of the responsibility is just what you mentioned. Society, which includes women. The media, which is part of society. So society is kind of like a catch-all, but it includes all these different groups that, yes, are responsible for how you turned out.
Okay. Because, the confusing part for me, so a little bit of my history, I was raised by
By Lemon Party, that's disturbing. No, you meant...
I was raised by a lesbian feminist mother. I grew up as a nice guy. I grew up...
so you had two moms, basically, right?
Yeah, my mom wasn't in a relationship the entire time, but I grew up in a
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. And I grew up in a household where the idea of being masculine and being in touch with sort of your own sort of aggression and your drive and your purpose was considered wrong.
Right.
So I feel like I've been in the situation that you talk about. But the one thing that really helped me deal with my situation, and the one thing that kind of kept coming up sort of the way when I look back at my situation, was the amount of responsibility that I actually played in that situation.
Okay.
That I was given information by my mum, by the media, by society.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it was still my decision to act upon that information and to use that information and not seek out a different solution.
Okay, well, here's where you're wrong in that regard. Let's say, how to put this? Okay, simple case like advertising, right?
Sure.
Advertising. When advertisers advertise on the TV a video game, a perfume, a clothing line, a car, a beer,
yeah.
Who is responsible for buying the beer? You or the advertiser?
I would say I would be.
So you're at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. So that's what you're saying, right? It's the advertisers may be sending out the message, buy beer, or we have a great beer that's better than this beer, you should buy it. But at the end of the day, you're saying it's your fault, it's your responsibility. You're the one who chose to buy that beer in the end.
Yeah, totally. But one clarification: when I'm talking about this, I'm just talking about like my own personal experience. I'm not trying to say like.
Well, I'm extrapolating this to everybody's experience, but it may be your own personal experience. But I'm trying to apply this to everybody now.
Okay, all right, sure, yeah. So I believe that if the advertising is up there, it's still my choice whether or not I buy the beer.
Okay, so then in that case, you're saying you're in control of all your decisions, correct? Because at the end of the day, if you're responsible, you must have control, right?
Yeah, I believe that I am responsible for all my decisions. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in charge. All right, so why do advertisers make billions of dollars a year if you're in control and they have no control over you? You have all the control. They have zero control over you. Why do they make money? Why don't they go out of business?
Well, my perception of it is that a lot of people don't exercise their own control.
So okay, so you're unique. So what you're saying is you're unique in that you are the only person on planet Earth that has control over your actions, and everybody else has no control for some reason. They're all influenced by advertisers. Is that what you're saying? So you're responsible for your actions, but they're not.
No, I'm saying that I personally feel as though I am responsible for my actions. I've met a lot of people who don't take responsibility for their actions.
Right, but I'm asking, are they responsible? I'm not asking whether they accept accountability or blame for their actions. I'm asking you whether, objectively speaking, you would blame them or not. Are they responsible or not for their actions?
I would say yes, that they are responsible for their actions.
Okay, so you're saying that they do have control over their actions.
I'm saying that they do. They don't.
Okay, so you're saying they're just like you. Everybody's just like you. At the end of the day, everybody's responsible for their own actions. Nobody has control over anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I ask you again. Why are advertisers in business at all? If everybody is perfectly in control of their lives and nobody has any say over what anybody does at the end of the day, it's just you or the other person. They're completely responsible for their own choice. Why are advertisers in business?
Because some people don't choose to exercise.
Wait, you just said everybody. How is it some people now? Which group? This is what I want you to clarify. Which group has control over their behavior and which group doesn't? Let's talk about the group that doesn't first. Which group doesn't have control?
Everybody has, in my perception, everybody has control.
So there is no separate group. There's only one group is what you're saying.
Can I just finish this? Okay, so my point is that everybody has control, but not everybody chooses to exercise that control.
Okay. I don't understand this. Everybody has control, but not everybody chooses to be in control. So let's say I was a fat chick and I wanted to lose weight. I have control, but for some reason I just choose not to be in control. Why would I ever choose to eat a donut if I could control it and not eat a donut? Why would I ever choose to eat a donut?
Because it makes you feel good.
But I have control. Why? So what if it makes me feel good? I want to be slender and sexy. Why would I ever eat a donut if I had control?
Okay. Well, if you want, I can go into my beliefs and my philosophy.
No, I'm not asking you about that yet. I'm asking you to answer this simple question. We're trying to establish who's in control of their lives right now. You said everybody's in control of their lives right now. So I'm asking you, these people who are in the business of controlling your behavior, $1 billion business of controlling your behavior, how is it that they're still in business if they have no control over you?
Because there are some people
Okay, so now you said everybody has control. Now you're saying there's some people. Okay, this group, that's what I want to find out about. Who is some people?
Okay. So, in my perception, some people, there are, how do I put it? There are some people who value fitting in more than taking control for their life. Or there's some people who
value fitting in more than taking control of their life. So they have the ability to control their life, but for some reason they just want to fit in.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think a fat chick would fit in as a fatty, or as a slender chick, or a chick who's in shape, or a chick who's healthy? Which would fit in better to society? A morbidly obese chick, or a chick who's slender or healthy, at least?
It depends.
It depends. So you think if we talked to 100 chicks right now, we just pulled 100 chicks right now, they would say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Being morbidly obese is just as desirable, or just as much a social expectation for me as being healthy. It doesn't matter to me."
Okay, so my basic philosophy with people is that everything we do in life, we do because we want to experience something.
Okay.
And the problems that anyone faces in any area of their life are to do with how they choose to experience it.
So, how does this answer the question of who's in control?
So, for some people, now I have to go to experiences. So the point that I'm getting at is the decisions that we make, whether or not we exercise control, are to do with what we want to experience and how we think we experience it. So let's say for this fat chick, she really wants to experience connection. Like that's what's really important to her.
Okay.
And her social group is made up of people who are morbidly obese, who don't exercise, who hang out watching the same TV shows.
So you're saying that's a better choice for her? She would want to be morbidly obese just because her friends are morbidly obese?
Because it gives her the experience that she's looking for.
She's looking for a morbidly obese experience?
She's looking to experience connection, and that's the way she experiences connection.
Through other morbidly obese people. You're telling me that fat chicks experience connection only with other morbidly obese people. You're telling me that they don't experience ridicule or shame or contempt in society. You're telling me they experience more connection with other fat morbidly obese people. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that there are some people who are...
Who are some people? What is this special group? Who are some people?
People have different ways of doing things. How would you define a specific category of people?
I'm asking you to define... You're talking about people... You said everybody's in control of their lives. Everybody to me means everybody on planet Earth. Unless you could specify some other group that's not in control of their lives. Are you specifying some other group that's not in control of their lives?
No.
Okay, so everybody has control of their lives.
Everybody has the capacity to be in control of their life.
Everybody has the capacity. So everybody can jump as high as Michael Jordan. Is that what you're telling me?
Is that what you're defining as being in control of your life?
What does it mean to be in control? Being in control means if I desire to do something, I can do it. Nobody else will influence me to do otherwise. If I want to do that thing, I will do it. That's control.
Sure, okay.
So everybody has control is what you're telling me?
Everybody has the capacity to control their life, yeah.
Okay, so once again, I'm asking you the same question for the fourth time now.
Yeah.
Why are advertisers in business if everybody has this control, which you claim they have, over their lives? They have the capacity to control it. Why don't they?
Okay.
Why would they? Why would they eat a McDonald's Happy Meal if they could eat healthy? Why would they buy this expensive car if it's out of their means? Why?
I've missed everything you said for the last 5 minutes, or the last, 20
seconds.
Okay,
If you claim that these people, everybody has control, meaning everybody in their lives has the capacity to control their life, to do what they want to do, regardless of what other people tell them, they have the capacity to do this, why would they ever choose to do something they didn't want to do? Why would they ever choose to do something they didn't want to do?
It makes them feel good.
It makes them feel good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so
let's talk about it specifically.
Okay, let's talk about that. It makes them feel good. So let's say eating donuts makes me feel good. I like the taste of sugar. So, do I value, or is the sugar controlling me? Or am I able to say, well, a certain amount of sugar is unhealthy, therefore I need to take control of my life and not eat the donut?
Sure, you're able to do that.
Everybody should be able to do that according to you.
Yeah, well, everybody has the capacity to do that.
Why don't they?
Everybody has the capacity.
Why don't they do it?
Because it feels good to not. It feels eating this donut. So
you're saying eating a dozen donuts feels better than being ridiculed your whole life for being an obese porky pig.
Sometimes there's that immediate payoff versus future payoff. But to make it more
specific, yeah, but you said they had control. I don't understand. What do they have control over? If they're...
Are you able to tell the difference between having the capacity to be in control and exercising that capacity?
Yeah, one is a potential, and then one is you're actually doing it. It's an active thing. So, but I'm saying if everybody has the potential to just do it, to just control their lives, why don't they do it? Why would they ever let their life be out of control?
I'll talk about myself and my specific example because I can give you like a concrete example of that. I grew up being a nice guy. Like, I was the nicest, sweetest, best friend any girl ever had. I would sit there and I would talk to them and listen to them, like all their problems with their boyfriends. Why? Because for me, the most important thing was fitting in. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to experience.
Did those girls have control over you?
No.
No?
I had control. No. I chose to act like that because I wanted to fit in, and that was the best.
No, you didn't like girls. You're gay is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I'm a total fag. I love cock in and around my mouth.
So you're gay. So what are you telling me about girls for then if you're gay?
I'm not gay.
So you're being sarcastic. Okay, so you do like girls.
Okay. Yeah, I do like girls, yeah.
Okay, so
me,
if you like girls, are you saying girls have control over your life or not?
No, they don't.
They don't have any control over you. So if a girl's dressed and showing her tits, you're not going to look because you have control over where you look, what you do.
No, I will look, but it would be my choice to look.
Oh, okay. So have you ever seen a girl when you were younger in a hot-looking outfit and got a boner?
Yeah, probably.
Were you in control of that boner?
I was in control of what I did, of the action.
Oh, you were in control of which part of that? Which part of the boner were you in control of?
The boner is an automatic reaction, but what I choose to do...
I thought you were in control. Aren't you in control of your thoughts that influence your boner? Why can't I blame you for letting your thoughts wander?
I am in control of my thoughts. I'm not in control of my automatic body responses.
Yeah, but if you're in control, you know that looking at hot chicks will make you get a boner like when you're in class and you don't want a boner. Why would you allow that to happen to yourself if you're in such control?
I don't have the control. I don't have the level of control.
Now you have a different level of control. So do you have control? Because you're talking about levels of control now? I thought everybody had the capacity to control. Everybody's responsible.
Yeah. I'll finish my story and then I'll get onto that.
Your story doesn't make sense until you understand this part about control. The story's irrelevant. How does that demonstrate the part we're talking about?
Because what I'm telling you is why I made the decisions that I did. You're asking me about why anyone would do anything which seems counterproductive. And so I'm telling you why I did what I did, despite the fact that I knew it was counterproductive. Does that make sense?
No, because if you want something, I want to be fit. I want to be a cut buff guy. But sometimes I eat pizza. Sometimes I don't exercise when I want to exercise. I would, if I had an ideal world, I would always exercise on my exercise schedule. I have the potential. I have the capacity to control myself when I'm exercising. So if I'm on a schedule, I should be able to keep that schedule. But why am I not able to control myself? I don't understand.
Why don't you?
That's my question. I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure I'm not alone though. I'm sure other people have schedules or workout schedules or have eating restrictions for themselves and they break those eating restrictions and they break those schedules. Why?
Who breaks them? They break them.
Yeah, but why?
What stops them from getting up and going to the gym?
That's what I'm asking. What stops you?
I work out whenever I want to.
You work out, so you keep a schedule. Whenever you're supposed to work out, you work out, right? You never skip a day.
No, I don't.
Wow. You must be the only person on the planet who is totally kept to their will, have followed their will 100% of the time. So whenever you want to eat something, do you have any eating restrictions or are you allowed to eat whatever you want?
No, I have eating restrictions.
Oh, do you follow your eating restrictions 100% of the time?
Yep. I broke them today.
What? I thought you had control. You have restrictions.
I did. I chose to break them.
Why? You have control.
Because so I'm on this diet, which is like, it's just beet, fruit, nuts, and vegetables. And I really felt like eating rice. So I ate some rice.
What happened to the control? I thought you had the capacity to control yourself.
I did, and I used that capacity to choose to eat rice.
Well, then what does control mean if you have no capacity to govern yourself and make yourself do what you want to do? How can you ever say you have control over anything if you can't do it?
Everything I do is a choice that I make in my life.
So you choose to set up restrictions that you will just arbitrarily break. You choose to do that. Why bother having restrictions then? If you can break them without rhyme or reason, why bother having them?
Would you like an answer or would you just like to talk?
I would like you to make sense is what I'd like.
Okay, cool. I chose a diet that makes me feel healthy and makes me feel energetic.
And you break it.
Yeah.
Why? You're in control. What happened to your control?
I choose to break it.
You chose to break it because you wanted to break it. You just decided it's a good time to just get rid of these restrictions. I just choose to break it.
Yeah, totally. I felt like eating rice, so I ate some rice today. That was my choice.
Why bother having restrictions? You obviously can't control yourself.
Because it works most of the time.
Most of the time. It works, but why does it work 100% of the time? According to you, you have 100% control.
I do.
You do? So it just somehow just arbitrarily aren't able to control yourself a certain amount of time?
Have you felt like a victim your entire life? Or is this
What does this have to do with victimhood? I'm explaining a simple concept to you that you're not even able to grasp.
I'm just curious because it seems like you feel like the world is like against you and controlling.
How does you not having control and you being incoherent in your philosophy have anything to do with me feeling like a victim? How do those two things relate?
Well, I'm curious because what I'm hearing from you now is you don't feel like you have control over your life and that things happen to you rather than you being able to proactively create.
Well, let me ask you a question. If a meteor were to hit the Earth, are you in control of meteors too? You have mind control over them or something? How can you guide meteors? Do you guide when you're on a rainy road and a car slides off into your car and causes you to have an accident? Are you in control of the cars?
No, I'm not in control of the cars at all.
Are you in control of how many people are drinking on the road, drunk drivers that might potentially hit you?
No.
Are you in control of New Year's night when people are firing off guns and one of those bolts just happens to come down on your head and kill you? Are you in control of that?
Yeah, I'm telepathic, so I'm able to redirect bullets.
Well, your sarcastic, your retarded sarcastic answer still doesn't answer the question of whether you're in control. You claim you have 100% control, but yet I've just demonstrated just a minuscule amount of events that happen on a daily basis that are totally out of your control. And now you're telling me, you're whining to me about me not having control over my life when I've just demonstrated a bunch of simple common things that demonstrate no control, that you have no control. Could you have a heart attack right now? Could you have a heart attack right now?
I said that I'm in control of my actions. That's what I'm in control of.
You're in control of your actions. You just told me you couldn't fucking stick to your diet. How are you in control of your actions? You can't stick to your own diet.
I said that I chose to break my diet.
You chose to break it. Why do you even have a diet if you can choose to break it at will? What's the point of even having a restriction if you can break it whenever you want? That's not a restriction. A restriction means you can't break it.
Because it makes me feel good.
So it makes you feel good to lie to yourself is what you're telling me. So you set up this restriction that you say I'm not going to break. It's a restriction. What's the point of having a restriction if you can't break it?
I never said that. You're putting words into my mouth. I never said
I'm essentially repeating what you're saying. You're saying you have restrictions, which are rules you can't break. That's the definition of a restriction. Why have a restriction if you can break it whenever you want? It's not a restriction by definition.
That's your definition of a restriction.
Oh, so you have a different definition than all mankind has for restriction. What's your definition of a restriction? Tell me what your definition of a restriction is.
I said that I have gone on this diet. I didn't say that I...
What is a restriction to you? What is a restriction to you?
Something that... How do you explain restriction without using the word? Something that restrains you.
Restrain? Obviously it doesn't restrain you, so we need a new definition now. What else do you want to... How else do you want to define it? Because it's obviously not restraining your behavior. You can break it whenever you want.
But see, I didn't say I had a restriction. I said I was on a diet.
You did? What? What do you think? I just asked you if you had dietary restrictions. You said yes. What is a diet then? Why are you on a diet? A diet is a restriction. If you can only eat certain things on a diet, that means you're restricting things you can't eat. Right?
Yeah,
isn't that a definition of a diet? Why have a diet if you can eat anything? That's not a diet.
The concept of choice.
A diet where you can eat anything is not a diet.
Okay, that's great. We could debate what a diet is for a long time, but that's...
No, we're trying to make you see common sense here. You don't see how incoherent your reasoning is?
Please tell me what common sense is, because I would love to hear
I'm trying to demonstrate it for you right now. You're completely incoherent in your reasoning. I'm asking you to define a restriction. What is the point of having a diet if you can eat anything you want? Why even call it a diet? Why call it a diet?
Okay, well, let's not call it a diet then. We'll give it another name.
It's just called eating. If you can eat anything you want, it's not a diet, it's just called eating.
Okay, well, I'm on an eating plan.
Yeah, so why would you say you have to stick to an eating plan when you can eat anything? There's nothing to stick to. You can eat whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't eat anything that I want though.
What? You don't? So you restrict yourself now. You don't eat anything you want. So there's things that you want, but you're not allowed to eat them, which is what we call a restriction.
This is a great conversation. I'm getting heaps out of it, but if we could go back to the original point...
You're getting heaps out of being incoherent. I'm not getting any heaps out of being incoherent.
Okay, well, let's go back to the original...
This is the original point. The point is, you're incoherent. You can't see the logic fallacies here, the reasoning fallacies. Forget about logic, just reasonable, common sense. People on the street could understand this concept. If you have a diet and you are not allowed to eat something, that's called a restriction. If you can break that restriction anytime you want, there's no restriction.
You're right.
Of course I'm right. That's what I've been trying to get at. You're wrong. You don't see it.
I'm completely wrong.
Exactly. That's my point. You've been wrong. What do you think this whole debate has been about? You don't know what you're talking about.
I wanted to discuss the ideas of choice and responsibility. And
you can't discuss choice and responsibility when you're an irresponsible child. You don't even know what a restriction is. Your cackling isn't going to help your incoherent logic.
Okay.
You're an irresponsible child. How can you ever talk about responsibility when you can't even understand the point of a restriction and you have no restrictions? You have hypocritical, arbitrary restrictions, which are not restrictions at all.
Okay. So the definition of being a responsible adult is knowing the definition of the word restriction. Is that your definition? Because that seems to be the definition you're working under right now.
What? No.
You said I was an irresponsible child because I didn't.
You don't understand what the concept of restriction is. That's what I just proved. That means you're not an adult. If you don't know how to stick to a restriction, if you don't know how to restrict yourself, you aren't accountable. If you aren't accountable, you're not an adult. You're a child. You prove you're a child. You reason like a child. You're like a step above a retard. You're like a sarcastic moron. Look, you're definitely a retard. Look, you use sarcasm when you can't make sense. When you can't make sense, you're like a girl. Look when girls don't make sense, they also use sarcasm. When girls don't make sense, they also use sarcasm. You're like a girl. You don't make sense, so you rely on sarcasm.
I'm actually a girl. I have a vagina. Okay, so if we could get back on.
How can I discuss anything with you when you're a child in your reasoning? You think your sarcasm is like humorous, as if it's gonna add to the argument, or it makes sense, or it's somehow humorous that you're a retard. I mean, it's painful for me. You're like, it's like arguing with a wall. It's painful for me. I know you think you're hilarious and your sarcasm is so funny, but I think people listening to this are going to be like, what is this fucking idiot talking about? He's laughing about being sarcastic and not making sense. He's using sarcasm, passive aggressiveness as a defense mechanism for not making a coherent thought, for not being coherent.
I'm a retarded child. It's because I'm a retarded child, man. I can't help it. You know?
Okay, if you're a retarded child, where would you, if you're a retarded child, as you claim, where do you ever see fit to lecture me on responsibility as a retarded child?
So
you are lecturing me. You're telling me I'm responsible for this and that. You're trying to teach me about the concept of responsibility when you don't even grasp it yourself.
No, I'm not trying to lecture you on anything. I'm trying to.
Oh, you're not. So you're not trying to tell me I'm a victim. Just then.
No.
Wait,
I'm trying to understand
for Lee, excuse me.
Sure.
If everyone has the capacity to have control,
sure,
but yet they haven't reached that capacity, does that
they
person
don't exercise it yet? Yes, they have the capacity to be in control, but they choose not to exercise it. That's my philosophy, anyway.
So it's not so much of a capacity; it's just a dichotomy of choices.
It's a nonsensical dichotomy because there's no limitation. If there's no limitation, there's no control. I mean, if you could crash into the wall or stay within the traffic lines, if you have the choice, if both choices are equally valid, crashing into a wall or staying within the traffic lines, there's no choice to talk about. There's no control to talk about. There's no restriction. If you have no restriction, you have no responsibility. You're not an adult. You're a child.
If we could go back to, is it Blue? Sorry, I've forgotten your name, brother.
Yes, Blue.
Blue's the moderator. He's not going to debate for me.
I don't want him to debate for you. I just want to, if we could just finish the question he was answering.
Yeah, I guess I was confused about choice. So you said that there was a capacity. Everyone has the capacity to choose, but capacity implies that people may not have a capacity or haven't reached that capacity. So if a person hasn't reached that capacity, by definition, if they haven't reached the capacity, do they have a choice?
Okay. The capacity to choose is still there, whether or not they go with that, work with that, use it, activate it, whatever kind of words you want to use. Do you believe you have a choice in the decisions you make?
I believe that I am heavily influenced with the choices that I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but still at the end of the day, do you make the choices based on the influence that you get?
Well, I would say I do make decisions as far as whether, for example, I don't want to be fat.
Sure, okay.
And I'm out of shape right now.
Sure, okay, great.
If I had the choice, I would definitely be a lot slimmer, healthier. I may even want to go to the paleo diet, but I like bread.
Great.
Yeah, why don't you exercise your capacity and just control your eating?
It's because right now I don't have the capacity. I don't have the capacity. Just like,
what's stopping you
just
from
like a lot of people would want to be a doctor or a lawyer. They may have the capacity to be a doctor or a lawyer, but they end up in some sort of menial job where they're, they may make minimum wage. So
why do they choose that? Why do you choose that?
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Why? What's stopping you from choosing a different diet?
I would say it's a
lack of control
and a lack of control. Yeah, it's a lack of control.
Okay. So when you sit down to eat, like you go and choose food, what happens? Is there does people just put food on your plate, or do you sit there and you select what you're going to eat?
No, I select what I choose. Absolutely.
Okay. So could you select something different?
Yeah, you could select green beans, couldn't you, instead of like a donut? But yet you choose the donut.
I always choose the good stuff, the bread, the
The tasty stuff.
Okay.
Tasty
Okay.
stuff.
So you choose the tasty stuff.
Why do you choose the tasty stuff? Why are you so out of control?
Just because the good stuff most of the time is repulsive. So
What?
Yeah, it's repulsive. It's like I know it's good. Like I know it's good, but it's not as enticing as the bread.
So you're fucking telling me you're out of control, in other words.
Yes, like I do not have control. I'm not exercising control.
Are you not exercising control? Or do you not have the ability to control yourself?
I would say I do not have the ability to control myself.
Case
What's
closed.
stopping you from having that ability?
I would say my environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. If that's how you feel.
Yeah, like
just like. Go on.
Like let's say I grew up in a household and I had parents, and
You got the house. Cool.
they stress the importance of good diet, and
Sure.
when I eat something bad, they discipline me.
Sure.
So I was trained to be a certain way.
Sure.
Okay, so it would be much easier. Like it wouldn't be so much of a choice by that time. It would just be automatic to where I can.
Why do we even talk about controlling people or people having free choice if we have rules and people break those rules and they get penalties for that? Or children, where we restrict their behavior and we control their behavior with discipline. We control them and we educate them. It's a legal requirement. Why do we even talk about people having control if so much of society demonstrates you don't have control?
Do you feel like you have control?
I have a limited amount of control. It's almost like imaginary control. Like
What can
I
you
can choose to brush my teeth, but that's all based on my training. Like I didn't brush my teeth when I was growing up because I didn't have my parents controlling my behavior. My parents didn't tell me to brush. They didn't force me to brush. They told me brush once in a while, right? Like every blue moon they mention it. It's a good idea, but nobody controlled me and made me do that. So I didn't develop a habit until later in life. And then I got cavities. But the point is, I wasn't trained. And even when I'm trained, in some respects, I don't have control. Like a simple thing like diet. Whereas I don't splurge and, eat donuts and pizza nonstop, but there's still times when I know I should eat this or I know I want to eat this, but instead, because I don't have control, I eat this over here.
Wow. That must be an interesting life to live, man.
Yeah, it's called the human life.
Well, I find it really interesting because throughout my entire life, I've always looked at myself as having control.
Yeah, because you're delusional. We proved that you're delusional.
Let me put it to this way. Let's say paleo diet didn't exist.
Sure.
Well, I mean, you can argue that it existed, caveman or whatever. Okay, but let's say it's in our time, the paleo diet didn't exist because there wasn't anyone smart enough to say, oh, okay, they were cut down on bread. Would you have the choice to be on the paleo diet?
I would have a choice over what I ate. I would have a choice about what I put in my mouth. I wouldn't have a choice to be on the paleo diet
Blue,
because the paleo
can you shut up and be the moderator?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. I
Holy
would have the
fuck.
choice about
This guy's trying to undermine my case. Let that remark be stricken from the record. I would never go there.
Certainly. We can, whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah, that makes me feel good, exactly. Demonstrating that your argument is nonsensical. It does not make sense. You don't acknowledge a basic problem that everybody in history has experienced. Even the greatest minds, the so-called greatest people in our world have talked about this issue of control or lack of control. I mean, this is a common concept for you to kind of sit on a high horse and lecture down to people as if they don't have control, that they're not as wonderful as you. When you prove yourself that you're incoherent and you don't even keep your own restrictions, it's nonsensical, it's childish, it's hypocritical. That's a definition of a child. A child is hypocritical by definition. You are the very definition of a child. You are in no position to lecture anybody about controlling their lives or responsibility when you don't even understand the concept of control. You yourself said, I have restrictions, but then you don't even follow them. They're not restrictions then if you don't follow them.
I'm sorry that you feel like I'm lecturing you or that I'm talking down to you.
Well, you don't need to apologize so much to me as to yourself because you're only deluding yourself in the end. After this debate, we'll go our separate ways. You'll be delusional and I will understand what it means to be in control or to not be in control. Whereas you will have this absurd delusional fantasy of being in control of your life. So you don't have to apologize to me. You need to apologize to yourself because you're really lying to yourself. You're not lying to me.
Okay.
I mean, I've proven that you're not lying to me. I've already demonstrated that you don't understand the concept of control.
Proven. Proven by fact. Proven.
Yeah, I've logically proven it. That's why I've asked you questions about your views to expose the hypocritical nature of your views.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to give you a chance to finish what you were saying.
I have. What else should I add to that? Did we not already cover that you don't understand the concept of responsibility? And now you want to go on and talk about being responsible. It's impossible to go beyond that point until you even grasp the concept of responsibility. You can't talk about responsibility when you don't even understand the point of a restriction or what control is. Yeah, I know. It's a difficult concept for your childish mind to understand. All it ends for you is in laughter. So it's hard to, I can't really go beyond that point. I mean, you're talking about concepts in the ebook, but this is with a base understanding that you have an adult mind and can even grasp these adult concepts. You can't. You've already demonstrated that. Your knee-jerk response is sarcasm. That's a response of a girl, of an irresponsible little girl.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, do you see me having to belittle you or trying to ridicule you with sarcasm? I can. You're obviously dumb enough. I could easily speak down to you. I could easily ridicule you, but there's really no benefit for me to ridicule you.
I want to feel it. Shoot, man, go.
What? I mean, it's like ridiculing a retarded child. There's no joy in it. There's no victory in it. I mean, you are so dumb. Your own words are going to hang you. Your own silly philosophy is going to hang. Your childish words are going to be your own downfall. So I don't need to go, oh, bro, bro, you're just a dork. I don't need to do any of that. Your own philosophy is silly, as I've demonstrated. There's no need for me to ridicule you or be sarcastic. There's no need for that.
It's true.
I agree.
Yeah, it's true. I
agree with you.
Yeah. I was just thinking how challenging it must be to live in a world where you don't have control and choice. That must be challenging for you, man.
Well, it's really going to be challenging for you once you hit this wall called adulthood that you're never going to get past because you don't even understand the concept of responsibility or control. It's really going to be tougher for you, not for me, because I understand the concept. You don't. So, really, we're going to need a lot of pity for your case.
Okay, alright, cool. So tell me what this wall that I'm going to hit. What's going to happen to me?
Well, typically, what happens to a lot of children of single mothers, they have no you obviously have no self-control. You have no concept of control. Your boundaries are so arbitrary, they're like a fucking rubber band. So, the problem with you really is you're going to justify your idiocy. You're going to justify your silly mistakes. So nobody will ever be able to point to you and go, that's out of control behavior or that's bad. Like you could have a fucking heroin needle in your eyeball shooting up in an alley face down in your own vomit and still justify it because you have no boundaries. You have no control. You have no limitation. You have no reference point for what you believe in. So if you have no reference point, nothing is bad. Nothing is good. It's all relative. So again, whether you're running on a treadmill or shooting up heroin in an alleyway, you're not doing bad because you have no reference point. You have no restriction. You have no responsibility. You have no accountability. You're a child. So as a child, nobody can ever hold you accountable for your behavior. So even if you become a supermodel or you end up in the mafia, to you it's going to be the same. To outside people who have some ability to reason, they're going to realize this is a tragic case of a retard who did not even grasp the concept, who was so full of himself that he didn't even understand that he could have gotten an education. He could have gotten an adult education here and learned how to be responsible for his behavior. But because he's a child, he's not going to be able to even grasp the concept. So when he crashes and burns, you won't even be able to lecture him about his crash and burn because he's too childish to even know he crashed and burned.
So what you're saying is that for me to be responsible about my sort of life, I have to deny my ability to make choices. Is that
you have to deny your what?
Because that's what you were just saying. You're saying that I don't have any responsibility in my life because I'm a child.
No, you are trying to be responsible. The problem is, as a child, you are not accountable to any standard, to any restriction, as you've already proved my point. So, because you have no restriction, no standard, there's no bad for you. There's no bad for you. So if you eat 20 donuts today, it's not bad. If you eat broccoli today, same thing, not bad. If you eat a TV today, same thing, not bad. If you eat your foot today, same thing, not bad. Because you have no limitation. You have no restriction. You don't even understand the concept.
What makes you think that?
What makes me think that? What you just said, what you told me, that's exactly what makes me think that.
Because I do have a vision of the life that I'm moving towards.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and I just proved it's completely fucking delusional. So what is this delusional vision? What is this delusional peyote vision gonna help you if you have no standard for this vision? Like, you could be drinking from a toilet bowl, but according to you, since you have no restriction, it doesn't matter, you already achieved your vision. You can just change your vision. Then step to justify your drinking from the toilet bowl. If you have no restriction, you have no limitation. You're not accountable to anything.
I am.
You just said you weren't.
No, I didn't. You said I wasn't.
We just proved you were. What are you talking about? We just talked about your eating habits. We just demonstrated you don't have any standards.
I do have a vision of the life that I'm moving towards.
We're not talking about your delusional vision. We're talking about your standards, how you accomplish the vision. If you have no way to accomplish your vision, you're not going to get there. It's called a delusion. You're daydreaming.
I do have a path to get to my vision, actually.
I'm sure you have a path, but you know, flying on a unicorn isn't going to work. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, fuck!
I know. Fuck. You better go in that sarcasm business. You better hope sarcasm takes off. If sarcasm was currency, if childish female sarcasm was currency, you'd be a billionaire by now. If you could market your sarcasm and be a childish girl your whole life, maybe you'd be a billionaire. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. Would you like to know what my vision is? My defining endpoint?
Not really, because it's pretty delusional to begin with. The basis is delusional. So whatever you dream up, it's nonsensical. What does it even matter to even mention it at this point?
Well, because you said I don't have one. And
No, I didn't say, again, your listening skills are that of a child. I didn't say you didn't have a vision. I said your vision's delusional. You have no way to achieve your vision.
Okay,
You're
well,
delusional.
I do have a way to achieve my vision.
Oh, really?
Step by step, yeah.
Step by step, with no restriction. There's no steps, because there's no restriction.
No, there is, because there's...
Oh, now there is restriction, so you're not sure whether there's restriction or not. Because steps means there's restriction. You can't have a step without a restriction. A step is a distinction, which makes it distinct from a different step over here. That means there's a limitation between this step and that step. That's called a restriction. You don't fucking know what a restriction is, so you don't have any steps.
Definition of words is definitely the...
Definition of word? What?
Yeah, you're right, man.
Oh, it's like arguing with a pine cone. Is there anything else? Can we go beyond it? Anything else you want to address? Because I think we've hit this nail in the coffin and beat this horse for a long time. Is there anything else you want to talk about or debate?
Sure. I'd love to understand more about your world, man, because like I grew up...
I'm trying to explain it to you, but it's hard to understand a city if you don't understand a foundation. You don't even understand the foundation, so explaining the city to you is going to be impossible if you don't even grasp how a city's built. If you don't grasp the foundation of the city, what's the point of telling you about the city? You don't even believe it.
Okay. So what you're saying is that you don't believe that you have choices in your life and that you make choices. You believe you're a victim of your life. Is that what you're saying?
What?
Is that what
Do you even listen to yourself? Do you even listen to yourself?
Is that I just like to answer the question. Like, is that how you view your life? That you're a victim of circumstance and situation? Or do you feel like
you are in control over certain things?
Okay, what are you
You're not, are you in control of your parents?
No, I'm not in control of
You're not in control of your parents? Were you raised with a silver spoon in your mouth, or were you raised in the gutter?
I was raised by a single parent with 4 kids.
Were you raised with a silver spoon in your mouth as a rich kid, or were you raised as a poor kid?
Poor kid.
Poor kid. Did you have any control over that?
No, I didn't. But I had control over my actions as a poor kid.
No, you had control over your actions, which you break arbitrarily. That's how much control you have.
Yeah,
just like you break your eating restrictions, right? That's super control there, right?
I make a choice, and then I make another choice.
Yeah, and obviously you have no boundaries for your choices. You have no defining restrictions for your choices. So this choice over here to shoot yourself is just the same as not shooting yourself, according to you.
I said earlier that I do have a defining boundary because I have a...
Oh, now you invented a new boundary. Please tell me about this boundary.
This is what we just discussed earlier. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the hood isn't working for you. Maybe we need to take that off or something.
Well, maybe, you know what? Maybe we should get some audience reaction on your, what? I don't even know what to call it. Your incoherent rambling. Should we get some audience reaction? I'll be quiet, you be quiet, and let's have the moderator go around and get their reaction on what's going on.
Before we do that, can we just answer the question like I asked before? I really want to know. You said you feel like you have control over certain things, but not other things. What are those things you have control over?
You have control over certain things in the sense like eating. I can control to a certain extent what I eat, but that's again influenced by other things. There's a myriad of variables that will control. Like if a hurricane hits the house, my income might drop drastically. I might not be able to buy the food I want to buy, the healthy food I want to buy. There's a myriad of circumstances and variables that can happen to me that are completely out of my control. So to say I'm in control of things is naive at best. Yes, I can make certain decisions for myself, but even those are influenced by how I'm brought up, my environment, who's advertising to me, my friends, my peers, where I live, my teachers, my parents, everybody I interact with. All of these people have wills and are trying to exercise control over me.
Sure. So you get input from the external environment, and then do you make a decision with that input, or does that input just control what you do and you have no ability?
Didn't I just tell you it controls me to a certain extent? Yes.
Okay, cool. I just want to
do your teachers control you at all?
No.
Oh, so that you can do whatever you want in class. They have no control over you.
I can make choices, yes.
Yeah. What? Can we go to... You're giving me a headache. Can we go to the audience, please? Your ability to reason is like you're like a cat. Can we just go to the audience and get their reaction to this?
Well, I can explain the last example, and then we go straight to
You
the
really
audience.
can't. It's
I
silly.
can sit in a class, and I can make a decision about how I'm going to act, and then I can wear the consequences of those decisions.
Okay, great. All right.
Responsibility.
That's all.
Sure.
You got your point out. All right, let's go to the audience. Let's go. Blue, why don't you go around?
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Let's go to Lunatic. I haven't heard from you in a long time.
Oh, what are my reactions to what this guy's saying?
Lunatic is no stranger to insanity.
Reactions to what you've heard so far.
Lunatic, I would say of all people in this debate, Lunatic could probably relate to this guy the most because I actually debated Lunatic. He was at one time an enemy of the Academy. He was he was an insane guy. To a certain extent, I think he's still insane. So this guy could probably relate to you the most. I'm interested in actually hearing Lunatic's reaction.
I feel like I can relate to you a little, except I don't think I went as quite as passive aggressive as you did with all your sarcasm. I mean, I took issue with Plum's definition of control and influence at first too when I joined the Academy.
Sure.
But I really don't think I think the problem is maybe we didn't define our terms clearly enough. But
Yeah, probably.
maybe
That's usually a big confusing issue.
I don't know. I found your laughing distracting, and
Yeah, everyone hates my laugh. I get a lot of shit for it all the time.
it's not your laugh. It's just your weird like serial killer response.
All right, we don't fucking care about his outfit, you dipshit. All right, next person.
All right.
Totally useless commentary from Lunatic. He doesn't like his outfit. His shoes aren't matching.
We're going to go to Skyfall because he has his hand raised, so he wants to talk.
Go for it.
Let's go.
Go for
Let's
it.
go. I've seen your comments pop up, so I'm excited about this one.
Okay, the problem with what's going on right now is you're taking let's take an example right now. When is the last time that you walked into a class, whipped your dick out and cockslapped the teacher?
I've never done that before.
What?
Why not?
Because I chose not to.
So
I
you're
never did that to other human beings.
you don't actually have the choice.
No. I chose not to. I walked into that room and I chose not to.
The problem is that you're so delusional you can't accept that someone else has control over your actions in any kind of way. So you're backwards rational. It's mean that oh well, I mean I could do that, I could do that if I felt like it.
What's physically stopping me from doing it?
In the face. That's
Blue,
the
we
thing.
need to go to somebody else. His mic is breaking up.
All right, well, that's unfortunate. You need to get better internet, so please purchase something.
I also think Skyfall's point was incoherent, but it didn't help that his mic was breaking up in the middle of it.
All right, well, maybe that was to his benefit.
Maybe.
Okay. All right, let's go to Reed. Reed, what do you have to say?
Reed, can't hear you. Mute your mic, Reed.
Microphone.
Microphone, Reed. Reed!
Microphone.
Damn it. Damn you.
Microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, sweet. Well, my initial reactions to this guy is that of a chick. I know he kept laughing over and over when Plum said he was a chick, like he was trying to directly insult you. His goal is not to insult. His goal is to tell you what you're acting like. But then you hear it and then you're like, no, it's just kind of pissing me off, so you laugh it off.
Sure.
Here's the thing. Ever since I joined this academy, I've been able to distinguish between boys and girls a lot more clear, or at least non-feminine boys. The thing is, you're so sarcastic, you're so defensive about everything, you say choke, like a knee-jerk reaction. It's annoying, dude. You can't even listen to reason. You can't even be talked to because you're not understanding. So, it's frustrating just to hear Plum try to talk to you when I would have just punched you in the face a long time ago. It's annoying. You're an annoying asshole.
No,
So that's all I gotta say. I don't know why Plum is still talking to you. I would have just gotten
I don't want to hear I appreciate the reactions, but I don't want to hear so much of the personal reactions. I'd like you guys to concentrate on the actual content. We don't really care about how you feel about punching a guy in the face. It's completely useless. It's completely useless.
Alright, well, the content is that we're trying to explain, or Plum's trying to explain that there's this concept of other people have control over you. You don't have complete control over your life. And we all have that similarity. We all have that. That's just being human. We have other things controlling us. But, what was that?
How do people control you?
They do.
How do they?
Can we get into... This is not a debate. This is a reaction. Give your fucking reaction.
Okay. Sorry, my bad, man. I'm new to this whole debate thing.
Go, Reed. Are you done?
Well, it's just, that's my only reaction. I'm frustrated that he doesn't understand the concept, even though it seems like common sense. And that's all I have to say.
I'm frustrated by your response because it's not coherent enough. It doesn't address any of the content of what we're debating. Let's go to somebody else, Blue.
All right, let's go to Stingray.
Stingray.
All right. My reaction to this is I think about my own life, and
and the impact my own parents has had on my development, the way my personality is, all the people in my life who have trained me and taught me to be who I am today. I don't think for a second that when I was a little kid, I was able to rationalize and interpret the different ways that they were having an effect on me.
Sure. No, I totally agree with that.
I think your view is very naive, and
sure. So, well, let me clarify that when I'm talking about having control over your life, I'm not talking about when you're a small child. Well, I presume that everybody here is an adult, and we're adults making adult decisions.
Well, why would someone automatically become an adult and change?
Because you're removed from the restrictions of living with your parents and being under your parents' control.
Being under your parents'
and
control.
there's also, like, if you want to get into it, there's also, like, brain development stuff which happens.
Okay, are we having a debate here or are people giving reactions? Fuck me! God damn it. Let's get some fucking reactions, please, God. Are you, Stingray, are you going with the reaction? You got anything else?
Well, no, I just want to debate this guy.
Motherfucker. Does anybody have any fucking reactions? Let's hear a Shy Guy.
Let's go to Voyager.
Go, Voyager.
Hey, Voyager.
My reaction to this was, I heard what you were saying, but I didn't get it. Like, I think what you don't understand was, the reason you make the decisions is because other things influence your decisions. Like, if I see a piece of cake on my table, and I'm on a diet, you say you choose to eat it, right? Even though you're on a diet and you're not supposed to eat it, you choose. But if you take the cake away, you can't make that choice.
Sure.
So, it has control over you.
So the cake has control over you.
Right.
Yeah? The cake has control over you. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is, at that moment, you're not in control. Because if you take away that variable, you can't make that choice.
Okay. So who forces you to put that cake in your mouth? Who controls your hand and picks it up and puts it in your mouth and starts your jaw chewing?
Oh, are we debating this again? Are we fucking getting reactions? Holy Christ.
I'm serious, bro.
Next. We can re-debate. You're not debating them, you're debating me. Holy Christ.
I want to go to Tiger Blood. Tiger Blood, we want your reaction.
Please don't fucking debate! Just fucking give your reaction! God damn it.
Let's go, Tiger.
I thought you wanted a reaction to the content.
Yes, give us the reaction to the content, but don't fucking get in a debate. Just state your case.
Please give us a reaction.
I just don't understand how you don't understand the concept of what a restriction is. You know, limiting yourself in order to achieve a certain goal. And a restriction isn't a restriction if you do if you violate that limitation, i.e.
Sorry, your comment. Okay, so your comment is based on the.
Can he finish his fucking comment? Holy fuck!
So,
Blue, are you fucking in control of this fucking debate? God damn it!
Fuck, damn it! Let's go. Come on, Tiger.
That's the shit no one likes. Now you're
Blue, can you mute this faggot? God damn it, you're the host! Let's go! Fuck!
Fuck!
Alright, Lee.
Jesus Christ.
Well, let's let the commentators make their reaction.
Blue, you're in control of it!
Say something.
Sure.
How about you exercise some control over him?
We're good, man. Shoot, Tiger.
Go ahead, Tiger Blood.
Okay, so if you violate a limitation, it's worthless now. You have no control because that's the point of a restriction, to give you a direction. And I think one point that we didn't touch on in the debate is that I think Plum might have Professor might have touched on it at some point, but I don't think it was emphasized enough. Is that you have to be trained in order to make functional or disciplined decisions, and that's why we are so influenced by pop culture and media because since most people don't have the proper training to make functional decisions, we let people like Pepsi and porn advertisements and Super Bowl commercials, we let that, they preach, they use positive associations and they make things sound so good and attractive.
Sure.
They don't mention that Pepsi has like 1 million calories and 30 grams of sugar in it. They do preach about how good it is. So we feel compelled to buy it because that's almost like an authority figure telling us why we should do something.
Sure.
We really need someone who was like, don't drink Pepsi. It's not good for you. You'll get diabetes. And that's someone training you to make the right decision. So you choosing to violate your diet is indicative of living, being raised as someone who wasn't disciplined properly or thoroughly to create discipline within yourself. So I just think you're missing the point that control is a product of learning how to have control. It's not just, choice or, I have the choice to do this. You make choices that are unfavorable to your desires, not to your desires, but to your needs because you don't have the training. to make that right choice. You know, you rely on, you know, shit that's not healthy. I mean, and it's a problem. That's why there's so many obese people in the country now. We having like a fucking outrageous obesity rate because people don't lack control. That's the point of control, is to make, you know, stuff that'll benefit, you know, your life. That's essential to.
Okay. Thank you for your commentary. Chewy, would you like to add anything? I know you were kind of going in and out of the. I'm not sure if it was your internet connection, Chewy, but and you're muted, by the way, so you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
I think Tiger Blood made a great point.
Sure.
But that was Tiger Blood, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Which point was that?
Just now.
well, just talking about the Pepsi commercials and everything.
Okay.
I think it's great, but it's only for the benefit of the people listening on YouTube. I don't think this guy's paying any attention, or is going to even be able to understand anything being said in this podcast. And it's really sad. It's the scariest debate so far, I think, because I mean, for the first time, this guy is just so delusional. It's not even like a chick that comes in here and it's like, well, it's like her boyfriend's responsibility to put her in line, or a guy you can understand some concepts and we can help him out. I think this guy's just going in one ear and out the other completely. And the more time I spent at the academy, the more I realized that a lot of people are like that. I was dating a guy a few weeks ago, and he was using the same sarcasm and laughing at things, laughing at coherent points, and trying to deflect it all just for the sake of his own self-esteem.
Sure.
And
So regarding the actual content, regarding the content?
no, I have no other reaction.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's go to. Who did I miss?
Payson, did you go?
Oh, Payson. I don't think he's there.
Payson's there. Payson, where are you? Get over here. Payson, come on, man.
Okay,
He's talking. Okay.
Let's go to Shy Guy.
All right. Actually, I missed quite a bit of the debate. I was kind of coming in and out, but from what I did hear, it was very hard for me to follow the argument that it's Lee, right?
Yes, Lee.
That the arguments that you were making was very hard for me to follow. I heard a lot of what Plum was saying, but I really didn't. From what I heard you say, you just kept saying sure, yes, and then at one point you said you had a vagina as well. I mean, it was very hard for me to again just really follow the.
All right, so you didn't hear any of the debate. Okay, so let's go to.
This is probably the worst audience reaction I've ever heard of all the debates. I'm so disappointed with the audience. I'm so disappointed with the audience, but the standard was higher in the other debates, but this one is, I don't know if they fell asleep or they're just so irritated. I don't know what happened to the audience. They lost their fucking minds.
All right, so we need more debates, Plum. Okay, for practice. Fasty, what do you have to say?
Okay, so I was having a hard time following what Plum said at first with the advertisements, but I think I was able to get it. Understanding that I'm only under control of certain things, but my environment influences me a lot. And at first, I was kind of siding with Lee, actually, with having control over what my actions are. Like, I sometimes can choose to maybe go to the gym at a certain time, and then, but I always thought that whenever so I'm on a diet right now, and I stray away from my diet. I never really thought that it was my choice to stray away. I just assumed I lacked self-discipline, so I wasn't able to actually stick with it. So that's what I felt. But I agree with you somewhat on the being able to up to a certain point having the ability to make a decision, but that decision is mostly based on the person and how much he or she is influenced by their environment. If I was raised up without any proper male guidance. I only know some of the stuff that's taught here at the site, but that's influenced. I feel like that's influenced me in my decisions. So I can only, the way I understand it is, I can only control things based on what I already know.
Yep.
And also, I want to say, Lee, I really like your accent.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Hello, any Aussie? Yes. All right.
Yeah, let's go to furniture.
Hey, can I jump in and say one thing? Is that okay?
Wait, we're getting to our last guy. You can jump in a second.
And then we'll get back to you, Lee.
Okay, cool. Cheers.
What I got from it was, it seemed like you were fooling yourself into believing that you have control over all these decisions.
Yeah.
But in the end, you really don't. I can choose not to eat.
Yeah.
But, where does that leave me? I have to eat eventually, so in the end, I really don't have control over
Oh, that's an excellent point. Necessity controls you. For instance, you could starve yourself for a week, but your necessity is so powerful, eventually it's going to drive you to eat. Great point.
I have no control of that. And what else did I? Well, yeah, that was pretty much my major point. Just like all necessity, like your needs to you need to fit in, you need to form relationships. You do certain things to do that. You can't just control who you want to hang out with. Like, I don't know. Pretty much.
Were there any impressions? Were there any impressions that you got from this debate, or certain feelings that you got from it?
Well, I was still I'm still getting in my head the restriction thing and seeing how that's being applied to like all sorts of things. Whereas, yeah. So I'm still learning too.
Glue, by the way, can we get your reaction?
Well, I'm the moderator. I think this is
Okay, let's get your reaction at the very end, after the debate closes. Remind me to ask you, because I'm curious about your reaction, too. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah. Okay, I think... Did we get everybody? You wanted to say something right after we spoke with Fasty.
Yeah, I don't know, the guy previously...
Right,
it was, he made a great point, and something that I completely agree with, and I don't know if that got lost in translation. The decisions that we do make in our life are based off the information that we have. Like, so the whatever the media says, society, like all the information that comes in, the decisions we make are based off that information.
I agree with that to an extent, but I agree that Furniture's point was it perfectly illustrates what I was saying. For instance, he just brought up the point that you could starve yourself for a week, but your necessity is so powerful, it doesn't matter what information you have. Let's say somebody tells you, bombards you with, just stop eating. Well, guess what? Your necessity is so powerful, you're gonna eat. You're gonna eat.
It's like breathing, man. You can't control that either. But these are like basic survival mechanisms.
Yeah, but again, things that are controlling your behavior.
Basic survival. I'm talking about functions that exist in
your necessities control you. You need food. You need to breathe. Yeah, these things control your behavior. They control what you do. They control where you live. Yeah, you don't live in the Sahara Desert because there's no food there. You would die. You live where your necessities drive you to where there's food. Food is at.
That I didn't articulate at the start. What I'm talking about here is based off the assumption that the people we're talking to and talking about have their basic survival needs met.
We're still talking fundamentally about control, so this includes survival needs. It's not even survival needs. They're called necessities for everything. You need socialization to survive, not just food. If you have all your food necessities met, and I take away all your human contact and put you in a cabin, this thing called cabin fever, you'll go insane because you don't have any human contact. That's a necessity. It's not just survival. It's not just physical survival. It's psychological health. You need people. You need contact with people. That's why they consider isolation in prisons to be a form of cruel and unusual punishment, because people go insane when they're isolated by themselves with no human contact. So these necessities control what you do. I mean, why do people join gangs? They know gangs are bad. You don't have to tell a gang member. Of all people, a gang member knows that gangs are bad. They know gangs are bad more than goody two-shoe kids who have no environment. They're not from the hood. They don't know whether a gang is good or bad or exciting. They have no idea. But a gangbanger, of all people, knows that gangs are bad. Then why do they join gangs? Because there's a psychological need to belong. There's a psychological need to have a family. So if you don't have this family unit at home, if you don't have a mother, father raising you, you don't get that love, you're going to seek it elsewhere, even in a dangerous environment such as a gang.
Yeah, or what is it that, so I find it interesting you brought up that point because you were talking earlier about fat chicks.
Yes.
And I was saying that sometimes women eat because to get a sense of belonging.
They don't eat to get a sense of belonging. They starve themselves to get a sense of belonging because they don't want to be fat. If anything, they binge and purge.
Sure.
They don't eat. They don't eat to belong. Eating is a response. Like if they're overeating and getting fat, they're depressed. That's a depression response. That's not a plea to belong. People don't eat to belong. People.
And I was saying that they want to belong.
Fat chicks eat because they don't belong. Because they're rejected. Because they're outcast. They're eating for like pleasure to get some sense of pleasure that they're not getting in a relationship. They're eating because they don't belong.
At the very start of the conversation, you said, "Why do people make these decisions that are unhealthy for them or they're bad for them?" And you just answered your own question. So it's
necessity, right? Well, okay. So if we know it's a good idea to not join a gang, you might die. Yet our necessity is driving us to socialize. Well, according to you, we shouldn't join a gang. We should just do the right thing.
No, I didn't say that.
We shouldn't. You just said that. What are you talking about? You said everybody has control of their life. We shouldn't be carjacking people. We shouldn't be shooting people up for gang initiations. We shouldn't be stabbing people. We shouldn't be beating up people. But this is part of the gang life.
I never said that.
Oh, you never said that. Sounds like a guy I debated last time. I never said. Mister, I never said. I'm interested in what you are saying, not what you aren't saying.
Okay, I'm saying that people have a choice whether or not they join a gang. And sometimes the necessity to fit in and survive, to fit in and belong is greater than that necessity.
So it controls them is what you're saying. Necessity controls them. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm saying that we all have drives and desires.
Does it control them or not?
Do necessity control them? I believe that people's eternal drives and desires do control them, yes.
So more so than their choice, for which we just argued in the beginning. We were arguing for hours about whether or not you had choice. You said it doesn't matter. You have the free will to do whatever you want.
Okay, so I do believe... Hey, what's that other
Hey,
conversation?
Blue, can you fucking mute everybody's mic except ours?
Yes.
Mute everybody and then just unmute ours. There we go. Unmute.
Oh wait, shoot, how do I unmute him?
Just click on his, or he could click on his own screen.
Unmute your mic.
Ah. Blue!
Everyone mute your mic.
Blue, you just click mute all, you fucker!
No, I didn't. Shoot. Alright.
Then just...
Can everyone go through and mute their mic, please?
There we go.
Please.
Thank you.
Everybody's muted.
There you go.
Skype, I'll mute your mic.
Packing? Passing? What?
Payson.
Payson, please. Alright, brilliant. No, what I was saying is that we all have drives and desires, and it's how we choose to fulfill those desires that determine the choices that we make.
I just gave an example. We know gangbanging's bad,
Sure.
yet they're joining gangs. So
Yes,
do they have
right.
control or not?
Yes, they do.
They do have control. So the gangs, then this necessity isn't controlling them. They could choose not to join this gang, but they're just joining it.
Yeah, because there's all different ways you can experience a sense of connection. One of them is joining a gang. One of them is learning how to connect with people and learning how to listen properly. Another one is fucking joining a martial arts.
I would love for you to go lecture gang members with this philosophy. Hey, you guys got a choice. You don't have to join this gang.
Sure.
I would love for you to go in there and inspire gangbangers. That would be the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life.
Great.
You lecturing people about choices.
I don't want to lecture people.
You're a child. You can't lecture people. You don't even know what it is to limit yourself. How can you talk about a choice when you don't even know what a limitation is?
Okay, cool.
This kind of reminds me of, you remember those, like when we were kids, they used to have the DARE program, and they used to say, just say no?
Just say no.
Yeah, like, it's like, oh, just say no, and it was like a good slogan, but like, during that time, it didn't really do anything to help the drug problem. So, like, everybody knew, like, yeah, you should...
Why say just say no?
Yeah, just say no.
If you have control anyway. What's the point?
Yeah.
I'm sure people that heard the just say no message thought drugs are bad, but then they probably hit a low point in their life and they're like, well, let me try some marijuana, let me try some cocaine, let me try some speed.
Or possibly they wanted to fit in. Or there's a whole bunch of reasons that people take
Yeah,
drugs.
but why can't they just, they know drugs are bad, why can't they just say, drugs are bad, okay, let's just not do drugs.
Because they want to experience something, and the way they think they experience it is through doing drugs.
So, they don't have control, is that what you're telling me?
No, I do. They do have control, but they use that control to make it a decision.
They use control to do things they don't want to do. How is that control?
So they do want to do it.
Oh, they do want to try drugs.
Yeah.
They're telling me everybody has an aspiration to do drugs.
No, I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying that this specific person that we were trying to make a specific example about chooses to do drugs because
he wants to do drugs. You're saying he wants to do drugs.
I'm saying that him doing drugs is a way of experiencing what he wants out of life. Which is a sense of possibly a connection, a sense of freedom, running away from pain, a sense of power and control in his life. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why people do drugs.
So, should he be doing drugs or should he be doing drugs? Is it a good choice, bad choice?
It's not my place to make a moral judgment on what he does with his life.
Well, there's no moral judgments then. Why can't I just kill people? There's no moral judgments. Who are you to say? I'm asking you, what does it matter? What does it matter? You're not going to morally judge me.
That's right. I mean, do you want to kill people?
So I'm asking you. You just agreed with me. So killing's all right. It doesn't matter either way to you, according to you.
I'm not morally judging you for the
Right. So why not kill people? Sounds like you have a great philosophy of just everybody murders everybody they don't like, and then suddenly we have all these wars, all these battles.
Do you want to kill people? Do you want to kill people?
I'm asking you. Your philosophy has no problem. I'm sure other people on this planet would have a problem with your philosophy of killing other people. I'm pretty sure.
I don't have a philosophy of killing other people.
You just said there's no problem. You're not going to make a moral judgment. I'm pretty sure if I knew somebody in this room was going to kill somebody, I would have no problem making a moral judgment against them, or even stopping them, preventing them.
Kill people?
What's
Do you
that?
think anyone in this room wants to kill anyone?
I don't know. I'm not a mind reader. That's not the point.
Okay.
What?
What if they were killing someone to protect themselves?
Well, why does he need to kill that person in the first place? Would be my concern.
Yeah, maybe they're threatening him.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
Yeah, but that's a separate issue. I mean, you're going off on a tangent.
No, it's not. unless we know why someone is doing something.
God.
Actually, no.
Do you have anything else to debate? Because I think we've hit a brick wall of understanding.
Yeah. No, I kind of do. No, I completely agree with you. I think it's pretty obvious that we have two very... Hang on, you guys there? The whole thing dropped out.
I'm here.
Are you still there? Okay, cool. Sorry, froze up. I think we have two different philosophies and two very different views on life. But it's been cool to try and understand what you guys are working through. It's been fun.
Well, you will see our debate. I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments, and we'll see the YouTube audience at large and see what they think about this. It was a disaster. I have to say, it was one of our worst debates.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I just think it's
You can listen to our other debates and see and judge for yourself, but just judging, I'm going by the audience reaction. Audience reaction was horrible. And just the general control. I don't know. It sounded like I was beating a dead horse over and over. I think it got somewhere, but I won't know because I was in the middle of it. You were in the middle of it. I kind of have to see it through the ears and eyes of everybody else and kind of see what they got out of it.
Sure, totally.
So we'll post it. We'll make it anonymous, and you'll see it on there. Thanks for participating in the debate. Blue, go ahead. It's all yours.
Okay, are we getting my reaction?
No, well, you can give your reaction, but we're ending the debate. Go ahead. I'll get your reaction.
All right, let me give you my reaction. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank Lee for coming to the debate.
Thank you, Lee.
And you showed a level of decorum, which was...
I got to say one thing before you start, Blue. To all the critics out there, Lee is a totally delusional nutbag. But the reason why I respect Lee is Lee has the balls to present his views for public scrutiny. This guy, as delusional as he has 1,000 times more character than any critic out there. I can respect a guy who, even if I don't agree with this guy at all, he has the balls to put his views out there for public scrutiny, which everybody should do. Any critic, anybody who's going to criticize another person, should have no problem coming in a public forum and defending their views and having their views open for public scrutiny. That should be a requirement for a critic. If you're going to criticize anybody, you should have to be forced to come in an open forum and have a debate with a person you're criticizing. Otherwise, your criticism is worthless. So, I tip my hat to Lee.
Yeah, and like I said at the start, we have very different philosophies, but I really respect the fact you guys are willing to put it out there and stand by it and debate it. That takes a lot of balls.
That's what I say to you, sir. I give thumbs up. Go ahead, Blue. Blue.
All right. So this was one of those debates where it's really going to be the interpretation of the listener to kind of discern who's right and who's wrong. For me, it's always the fantasy where two people are going to debate, and then the other person may come to a reasonable conclusion where there might be...
Turn him around, man!
Yeah, like some sort of agreement, but this clearly wasn't the case. So, for me, there was a lot of frustration. But I do understand where Lee is coming from. I feel like he has a very airy-fairy, there's an infinite amount of possibilities and so many choices that you can make, everything's a choice. As if to, for me, it's kind of like a feel-good sentiment for people to feel empowered, like they do have a choice. But for me, and from where I think Plum's coming from, I would think it's very irresponsible to say you have the choice when people clearly aren't making the right choices. Why would I do something that I know is bad for me and I do it anyways? I know there's going to be a bad result, but I do it anyways. So, to say you have a choice, it doesn't put in the influence factor because people are heavily influenced. So I think it's irresponsible. I think people need to have clear lines. They need to have, you have a choice, you don't have a choice, why you don't have a choice. I think these concepts would be, I think people would make better decisions if they understood that there's some things that they don't have a choice in and why they don't have a choice. To say that you can choose this and that at your will is irresponsible. It doesn't help people mature. It doesn't even help people with their self-discipline. So when I heard this debate, I was a little frustrated. And I am frustrated with the audience reactions. Lee, you have to hear other debates.
I'm going to after this debate's over, I'm going to kill myself because the first three or four audience reactions were all just Lee's shoes don't match his shirt. I hate him. It was embarrassing. I'm embarrassed.
I disagree, but I would say, look, I like you, Lee. I'm pretty sure Professor Plum likes you in some way.
I don't like him, Blue, but I respect this guy for having balls.
We invite you.
This guy's annoying as fuck, but he's got balls, Blue.
Yeah,
he's got balls.
Please come to the forum whenever you want. If you have any other issues, I think this is a really core issue because this really segues into a lot of our other debates and why it explains human behavior. So with this debate, we came at an impasse. So it's really going to be up to the viewer. Maybe Lee, you will listen to this debate and find out why you're fallacious.
Fallacious.
So, yeah.
It almost sounded like fellatio. Like he's like.
I didn't mean it as a double entendre.
Yeah.
But
That NLP programming you're trying to do on me.
yeah. But anyway, I think that's going to conclude our Manhood Academy debate. We'd like to thank you for joining us and thanks for being our guest. And we'll see you next time.